This year I've talked a lot about bands that you've probably heard of, but there are a lot of bands coming out with albums that you have definitely not heard of unless you decide to dive into the internet like I do and research bands all day. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 artists that you probably haven't heard of that you need to listen to before they blow up so you can be cool. Check it out. So like I said, I spend a lot of my time looking for new artists. I'm constantly absorbing material from Bandcamp and from suggestions from people. And there are some artists that are really sticking out this year that I think are about to go the distance and blow up. So I want to talk about them so you can listen and tell me if you agree in the comments. First up, we have Counting Flames by the Whaledogs. This is actually an artist that I was familiar with, but they recently changed their name. Originally, he went by Dylan Campbell. He was a solo artist, and he did awesome indie pop. His other moniker was Vermilion Club, and he had an album called Home that was one of my favorite indie pop albums of the year it came out. He then did a more indie folk album and then disappeared, and I didn't have any idea what happened to him. He came back with this album, and apparently he has a full band now, and they're called the Whaledogs. The 4 of them produce a really interesting sound. I was drawn to it because of my grunge thing that I'm into right now, and it's half grunge, half really polished indie pop. I know that's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but when you hear a song, you're going to really understand this. Their first single, Come To Me Bees, is an 11-minute jaunt that is just the craziest guitar mixed with this really good keyboarding from their keyboardist Tristan Lozak. There is an entire song that is pretty much just a drum solo. I don't know where this drummer Nate Kozer came from, but he is brilliant. What's interesting about this album is that the lead singer Dylan Campbell is no longer the lead singer. He has taken a step back in the project, and his awesome compositions from the earlier work is still there. He's now backing vocals to the amazing vocalist Steven LaRusso, who honestly is the closest voice to Eddie Vedder that I've heard in a very long time. Next up, we have Kaplan Kerbin. The Stakes Are So Small. This is a touching ambient album. I think I read the backstory of the album, and it's about his family member who passed away, and I feel like even though there's no words on this album, I'm able to dissect this entire story just based off that initial statement. In the same way that Tycho world builds for me and paints a picture, I feel like Kaplan's ambient music is very digestible in the best way. If you're an ambient or experimental music fan, Kaplan Kerbinov's album is a must listen to this year. Menoncourt's We Already Know the Answer But Wish We Didn't came out, and it is a post-rock triumph. In signature post-rock fashion, it has these sweeping drum parts, crazy guitar solos, and then these really calm parts in between them. They hail from France, and I didn't realize that France was doing such good post-rock until I heard this album. It's a long one. It clocks in an hour and a half, and that's because a lot of the songs just go on for so long you don't even realize it because they're so nice to listen to. If I had to recommend one song from this album to listen to, it's probably the one that divides the album in the middle, and that's because it's so sonically different than everything before it, Terrorfish. If you're a post-rock fan, this is for fans of Explosions in the Sky, Godspeed You Black Emperor, Caspian. If you like any of those bands, I think you will love Menoncourt. I know King Gizzard has 4 more albums to release this year, but I think Sangria Senor with Piss Off People is releasing some of the best punk rock, psychedelic rock I have heard in a very long time. This is some of the crunchiest guitar I've heard in a very long time. It is incredibly catchy from the very first track, and although it's not a full length and it's more of an EP, I think that this holds up to any of the full lengths I've heard in a very long time. What's funny is that the cover is like a rattlesnake, and the single from King Gizzard's album is Rattlesnake. I wonder if that was intentional. I wonder if it's a dig. I definitely think that these bands are going neck and neck with each other, and I think that Sangria Senor is coming for King Gizzard. I'd like to see some battle. Let's see some back and forth like it's David Bowie and Roxy Music going back and forth. And the most exciting release of all of these I mentioned is Seonil Inada's Nothing Left to Build On. First of all, this album cover is beautiful, and it has a parental advisory on it because it is a heavy album lyrically. This is a female UK rapper, and instead of rapping on your traditional trap beats or something a little more common to the rap game, she raps over pure psytrance. I'm talking Spangle level weirdness. Vocally, she's comparable to MIA, but the whole package is unlike any music I've ever heard in my entire life. I think that anybody that listens to this can be into it, whether you're a fan of hip-hop, you're a fan of psychedelic, electronic, anything. This brings everyone together, and the lyrics are aggressive. There's a lot of swearing, a lot of really dirty talk. It's very, very creepy at times with the things she's saying, but you never seem to mind because the beats are so intoxicating. Through Googling, I found a small site that's actually selling a limited pressing of this album. It just came out on purple vinyl with gold splatter. I don't have anything in my collection like that. It was a little pricey. It went for $80 shipped, but I really believe that this is going to be a huge collector's item moving forward. So I picked up a copy, and I think you should pick one up too. If you have the expendable income, you will not regret it down the road. Obviously, I'm just one person and my opinion is not everything, so I want to know what you think of these bands. Check them out, listen to them, tell me what you think, tell me what your favorite tracks are from them, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, as always, give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and we'll see you on Wednesday. So first things first, as I said, we are doing a giveaway, and it is incredibly easy to enter. I'm going to talk about how to enter at the end, but I'll tell you what it is right now. Dawn from Vinyl Record Art